We're all taught the same things. Save your money, invest wisely, delay gratification. And look, that's good advice, right? But what if there's a hidden downside to being so disciplined? What if we're so focused on the financial finish line that we totally forget to enjoy the race? Okay, let's dive into the pretty provocative philosophy of die with zero. So, this is the big idea from author and hedge fund manager Bill Perkins. And it's a huge challenge to a lifetime of financial habits. It really forces you to ask a deeply uncomfortable question about how you use your money and your time. I mean, if you're someone who's done everything right with your money, this question probably feels, well, kind of dangerous, doesn't it? So many diligent savers end up feeling trapped by their own success, always moving the goalposts, just living life on autopilot. If that sounds familiar, this explainer is for you. So, here's the plan. We're going to break down what die with zero actually is, then we'll explore this fascinating idea of memory dividends and talk about giving while you're living. After that, we absolutely have to tackle the real-world risks so we can land on the real takeaway. It's not about $0, it's about ending up with zero regrets.
So what does it actually mean to die with zero? Let's be clear, this is not about being reckless. It's about being incredibly intentional.
At its heart, this is a totally radical shift in how you think about your life's goal. It's not about hoarding wealth, it's about maximizing your life experiences. It's all about making sure your money lines up with the moments in your life. And this is where you really see the mindset shift. The old way of thinking is that money itself is the goal, getting that number in your account as high as possible. But the die with zero approach says, no, money is just a tool, a resource you use to fuel a well-lived life. The focus flips from accumulation to intentional spending. Here's how Perkins puts it. Any money left over when you die, that's just wasted potential. Think about it. You traded your precious time, your life energy for that money, and then you never cashed it in for actual living. It's like working overtime for vacation days you never take. Okay, and this leads us to maybe the most powerful part of this whole idea, this concept called memory dividends.
Think about it like this. When you spend money on an experience, you're not just buying a thing, you're creating an asset. But this asset isn't a stock or a bond, it's a memory. And it pays you back over and over again in joy, in stories, in connection, for the rest of your life.
I mean, this just nails the difference, right? A new phone is exciting for a week, and then it's just a phone. But that backpacking trip you took in your 20s, it gets better every time you tell the story. The dividends from that memory just keep compounding over your lifetime. So here's the kicker. It's all about timing. Perkins talks about time bucketing, planning your experiences for the stage of life when you can enjoy them the most. I mean, let's be real. You're going to enjoy that intense ski trip a lot more in your 20s than in your 70s, right? So the idea is to front-load those high-energy experiences. All right, I know what you're thinking. This is the big question that always pops up. What about leaving something for your kids or for charity? What about taking care of other people? And look, it's a totally fair question. This whole idea of dying with zero can feel incredibly selfish if you have people and causes that you really care about. So the book makes this really strong point. Giving with a warm hand is way more powerful than giving with a cold one. By the time your kids inherit, they'll probably be in their 50s or 60s, at their own peak earning years. But imagine giving them that same money in their 30s for a down payment. That could change everything for them. It's about giving the money when it can actually make the biggest difference. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in a perfect world, right? But now we have to pump the brakes and talk about the huge and, frankly, kind of terrifying risks that come with this philosophy. Time for a reality check. For a lot of folks, especially those who are really into financial planning, this whole idea sounds, well, not just weird, but downright reckless. And for good reason. Life is unpredictable, and the consequences of getting this wrong are catastrophic. And this, right here, is probably the number one reason people push back against the die with zero idea. Because as so many critics point out, a huge number of us are going to need expensive care as we get older, and those costs are absolutely staggering. So get this, we're talking about $8,000 to $12,000 a month for memory care in the US. And here's the real kicker. Medicare generally does not cover this kind of long-term care. You are on your own until you have spent almost everything you have.
So yeah, these risks aren't just theoretical, they are very, very real. You could live way longer than you expect. You could get hit with massive medical bills. The long-term care insurance market is a mess. Or a bad stock market crash right after you retire could blow up your entire plan. So trying to literally die with zero, for most of us, that's just not a realistic or safe plan.
Okay, so where does that leave us? Is this whole thing just a pipe dream for the super rich? Well, not exactly. The real magic here isn't in the number, it's in the mindset. It's about finding that middle ground. In this quote, man, it just flips the whole script. It challenges us to shift our biggest fear. Instead of being terrified of running out of money, maybe we should be terrified of running out of time with too much potential left on the table. And that is the absolute key. This is a wake-up call to stop saving on autopilot and to start asking, hey, what is all this for? It's about consciously designing a plan that balances being secure with being alive and making sure your money actually serves what you value most. Because that's the real finish line, isn't it? The goal is to use your money as a tool to build a life that, when you look back on it, is just packed with stories, memories, and impact, and knowing you didn't leave any life on the table.
So I want to leave you with this question. Just for a second, forget the number in your bank account. What are the experiences, the big ones, the small ones, that you need to invest in now, before that window of opportunity closes? Because that's what this is really all about.